This is GWEN Talks, where intimate conversations reveal, heal, inspire, and entertain. And now, here's your host, Tess Cacciatore.
Welcome, Dorothy Lee Donahue. I so adore you, and I was so happy to have you here, not only to receive the award, but be able to have more of an intimate conversation in the post-award show. Welcome to GWEN Talks.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here and be a part of this wonderful GWEN global amazingness.
I love that. So what I've been asking everybody is to really go back into your past, into your childhood, the origin of what everyone's story is. So you were born in Texas City, Texas. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
My childhood was extremely interesting. I was born in a very chemical city. You could smell it long before you got there. And it was an amazing place. A lot of things happened. I was 2 years old when it blew up due to a ship blowing up at the docks, and 1 in 3 homes were destroyed, which made my dad get out of flying and into rebuilding the city. So he actually rebuilt Texas City, Texas.
Wow.
And yeah, that was pretty amazing. My childhood was very interesting. In fact, it was so interesting that I co-created a lot of little Dorothys to deal with the incest and the rape and the molestation and the not so pleasant things. And fortunately, when I was about 65 years old, I found a wonderful psychologist who helped me go back and bring up the memories. And I was so grateful because by then I had absolutely integrated all of the little Dorothys, and I could review my past without being sad and morose. So it's been an interesting ride. I'm very, very grateful for what I wrote into my story as a child, because I have been able to help so many people all over the world.
Before we go there, Dorothy, I want to kind of dive deeper into it's such an interesting concept, and I think people will really relate to it, those who have been through trauma, which so many of us have. What do you mean by the little mini Dorothys? What kind of personalities popped up? How did that translate into your childhood?
Well, instead of dealing with what was going on, I had little Dorothys, and they did some interesting things. One was a little shoplifter, one was a liar, one was just a happy. And it was very interesting because the different personalities dealt with what I could not deal with.
Amazing. So you started to say how that was a blessing. So tell me how you said 65 years old that you finally came to terms with that?
Yes, well, it was brought to me. I was working with a psychologist and he brought up the truth. But by then I was able to see, because I was doing a lot of work with people who had experienced similar things. And I was able to see that what I had experienced helped me understand them. And had I not experienced it, I might not have been able to guide them as easily as I did. Well, the blessing of it all is that my work, my reason for being here on earth, is to assist people in loving themselves and forgiving themselves for their less than elegant choices and being the bright lights that we've all come here to be. That's my work. And had I not experienced all of this trauma and drama as a child, I would have greater difficulty in understanding what people are going through. But because I can see easily, having experienced it, what people are going through, I'm better at helping them. And I have found through my work, through my healing work, I've taught many years in Germany and spent quite a bit of time in South Africa. And what I discovered was that so many of my clients had experienced the same traumas that I experienced as a child. So the rape, the molestation, and the incest is much more common than people might know. I think you know that because of the work that you do. And it was really very, very interesting to discover that and be able to help from a place of having experienced it and overcome it and be the happy me and the peaceful me that I am.
And you're always so happy and peaceful. I love when you talk about how we write our own story. So the people that are in our lives, the people that are surrounding us on any given day, please share with our audience about what that means and let them get the insight that you have.
I really highly recommend that everybody read the story, The Little Soul and the Sun by Neil Donald Walsh, because it explains how at the light we choose our families, we write our stories, and we come down here to experience all of these different things so that we could become the love that we have really come here to be. So thank God, I had memories of it and was shown it in my dreams and in my travels in the higher dimensions. And so I knew that I had written my story. It took me a while to remember that. But once I did, it was fascinating to me. And I help people remember that they are writing their stories. And when we write our stories, we can also understand that we can bring in the script doctor and we can change it at any time. And I changed my story from trauma and drama and misery, and I had a PhD in victimhood and a master's in pity me. And now I have a PhD in happy, happy, happy.
Yes, you do. Every time I call you, you're always answering the phone. Happy, happy, happy. I love that. So, how would you suggest for people to be able to rewrite their script and change the course and not be in victimhood?
Remembering that they have written the story and remembering that we are all divine children of God and we are the power in our world and that we can change our thoughts, our emotions, anytime. We have to pay attention to what we're thinking. We have to be paying attention to what thoughts and ideas have been programmed in us from our childhood. And I was brought up with really not being so happy and like the city blowing up around me, and our families have a lot to do with the way we show up.
Mhm.
And so, knowing that mom and dad really loved me and they were just playing a role. And so, lots of times when they would tell me not to say what I was on my mind or not to speak, they were afraid that people might think I was a little nuts. So, they were trying to protect me. But at the time, it just shut me down. And I had a difficult time in expressing myself and the things that I'm able to express today.
So you have this ability to work on multiple dimensions. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would love to know how to do that because they might not have the support from their parents or their family or friends because sometimes it's frowned upon. What would you say to them about tapping into their talents?
Well, the first thing I would suggest is that they take my energetic alchemy Reiki mastery course because it's all about how to tap into that, how to connect with your higher self, and how to be the magic that we all are. Everyone has disability, and we've just been taught to not do it. As a child, we really tap into it. And as I said, as a child, I would say, Mom, Dad, sweet Jesus says such and such, because I was talking to this wonderful being that was guiding me through my childhood. And they would tell me not to talk about things like that. And so a lot of people have just been shut down.
Mhm.
And I ask that you go into a meditative state. And one of the things that you can do to really connect with your higher self is to write. Sit down, ask a question, and just start writing the answer. Don't read it right away. It's called automatic writing. And it was a way for me to find out what I needed to hear. So we all have the ability to connect, and there's so much in our reality that we have been taught to ignore. And I'm just really happy that somehow my guides get through to me, and I am now able to relate what I hear from them to the masses.
And you do that so well. You have so many workshops. You mentioned the energetic alchemy, and you also work with Filippo Voltaggio in the recalibration. Can you tell us a little bit about what happens on those weekend courses?
Well, everything is energy. And in my energetic alchemy course, what I really get people to do is remember. People call me a teacher and a healer, and I'm just really a reminder. And I remind the people of how to use their energy, how to be very careful with their words, their thoughts, and their emotions, and to choose ones that serve them instead of ones that don't. And so it's a lot of fun, and show them examples, and I share stories from my life where I have shifted and changed and used what I'm asking people to use. And I'm asking people to think, to really think. One of my favorite things is think. T, is it truth? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? I have this hanging on my wall and remind myself to think. And sometimes I think out loud, and I don't know that that's helpful, but I do it.
It is when you're talking, because you think out loud beautifully. So I say, think out loud.
Thank you.
So
the recalibration, this is an amazing course that Filippo Voltaggio created. And it really helps us take a look at our choices and how to change them, the choices that make up our daily lives. And I love being a part of it.
speaking of being a part of, and Filippo Voltaggio, the Life Changes show with you and Filippo and Mark Lejour. You've been going on for 10 years now on a very committed path every Monday night. And I want to hear, just maybe give a sprinkle of your highlighted episodes besides the ones that I'm on. And also I want to dip into a little bit of Ask Dorothy, because I love that segment of your show.
Well, it's been almost 14 years, and it has been wonderful. We have had such a great role of guests. We have some fantastic, amazing people on the show, and they help us know and remind us of new things that we can do to become better people. Life changes, and these guests help us change our lives and the lives of our listeners. And so it's fantastic. We have musical guests, and I'm so proud of the fact that we have given young, beautiful people who are starting out writing their own music, that we've given them an opportunity to be heard. And not only do our lives change, but the lives of our speakers change. Filippo and Mark are amazing, and the questions they ask and the answers they get are just life-changing. And I'm so blessed to be a part of this.
Talk about Ask Dorothy. I love that section.
Ask Dorothy. I get questions all of the time from my clients, and a lot of my clients are out of the country, and certainly not right here where I talk to them on the phone. So they'll write me letters, and they also do call me and ask me questions, and I give them the best answers I can. And I love it. I love being able to answer a question of whether it's about relationships or sadness or whatever. There are answers, and what I really do is just help people think differently and take a look at their issues in a different way. And that's what Ask Dorothy is about.
I love that. So in this crazy world we're living in, what advice would you give to people about finding peace within? What kind of tools would you suggest?
What I do each day in order to have peace in this turbulent world is start my day by saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for showing me all of the good in this world. And I focus on looking for the good. And there's so many things in social media that are absolutely good. And I can skip over the things that are on the dark side. And that's what I do is I look for the good things and I thank God for showing me the good things. And I start my day by saying, happy, happy, happy. I'm happy. And I really choose happy. It wasn't what I did for most of my life. I was very sad and such a victim. But now I'm happy. I realize it is a choice. And I ask people to make a choice and to see all of the good in their lives. Gratitude just gives us so much to be happy about. So I'm very, very grateful. I was thinking the other day when our disposal wasn't working and I was having to trek all of the coffee grounds and stuff to the toilet and flush them down the toilet because I couldn't get the stuff down the disposal. And I thought, as I'm going back and forth, this is great. It's just a few feet to the bathroom. And in the past, I would have had to go to the river, would have had to go to the outhouse. And I was so grateful that I have all of these modern conveniences. So I look for gratitude in even the silliest ways.
I love that. Well, we have to be silly. I know humor and silly and laughing is something that's very healing, and expression that comes to mind. I don't know if it's been said yet, but gratitude changes your attitude. I think we need to make a bumper sticker for that. So is there anything else you want to share before we tip on to the next interview?
I think that's about it. I really am grateful for this opportunity to be heard and seen. And I ask that people look me up and give me a call if you have some issues or need some help. I do private sessions that are 3 hours long. I have a magic table that I put people on and take them to places they've never known they could see and experience. And I love my job and I love my workshops and I love helping people help themselves.
And we love you, and that's why you're this year's 8th annual GWEN Luminary Award, GWEN Golden Gal, because you have gold all around you and love in the air for you. So thank you so much. You can find Dorothy on the links that are listed below, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. And whenever you answer the phone, you always say happy, happy, happy. And what do I say to you?
Joy, joy, joy.
It's been a joy having you here, Dorothy. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back.